to another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. I am your host, as always, Chet Porto. My brain isn't working. It's that's what happens when you get the second COVID shot. That and a weird appetite. I
Right.
assume the tail is common for everyone, right? Tail. No, just me. Oh shit.
Is it a monkey tail? Because you might have something. You might have something there.
Well, you know, now that you mention it, Marcus, it is a little brown, it is a little furry, and it does slap me in the face with a banana every once in a while. And it goes. God damn! I was trying to do a boo, a poo, a boo, a boo, a boo. That's one. I can't do as I can't. I used to be able to when I didn't have testicles.
Hilarious.
I always loved the way he talked. Like it's like all like rallies. Like, it was great. And then Stitch came along. I'm like, fuck you, Abu. What
Hilarious.
is his name? What is it? Is it Abu?
But yeah, Apu. Yeah, but it works even better because he's going back and forth with freaking. Uh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, Iago.
Yeah, freaking. Oh.
My my favorite insult in the history of Psych was in Tuesday the 17th, the Halloween episode. The one character gets really mad. And he's like, "You've always been against me, Iago!" And he runs away. And Sean's like, "Iago, the parrot from Aladdin?" Just the most random ass insult. I'm gonna start doing that. Just start calling people random character names. Fuck Dorothy.
That
You
yeah
fucking Mary Poppins.
between that song and I had to make it home every day just to catch. If I didn't catch the full episode of Aladdin, I had to catch the theme song. Theme
Oh
song was it.
yeah, I forgot about that. When they technically weren't, but you could tell they were definitely married by then. Yeah, I dug that.
Exactly,
When I,
exactly. It also believed, and of course, it got disapproved by Mike Tyson, but also made you believe, or the Ringling brothers, that you could have like a tiger as a pet.
yeah, that's a bad pet to have. They gonna eat you. It's just a matter of time. Um,
Siegfried, sorry.
Siegfried and Roy. Yeah, Siegfried and Roy. That was the other one. One of them just passed away. I forget which one it was. I think it was Siegfried. I could be wrong. But the show that I remember watching, because like Disney turned all their fucking animated movies into shows, and even some of their non-animated movies, The Mighty Ducks, for instance, which were actually about ducks that played hockey.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dragonis. Well, they did have one of the coolest names, Drake Duquesne. That's such a cool name.
Duquesne is pretty slick. I
Yeah.
can't even lie. Although every character in the '90s is named Drake. It's so much so that it bled into the early 2000s. They call him Dracula or Drake. No, they don't. They don't call him that.
No. Like in some places, they also call me Mick.
And in other places, they called me Papu Zijo. Just going straight into the Santa Claus now. I used to, when I babysat my cousins, because they were about 10, 12 years younger than me. There's two of them. That's why there's two numbers. They really liked the Lilo and Stitch movie, and I do too. But they would love to watch the animated version. So like they would like TiVo or DVR, whatever the hell they were doing in 2003. And they would have like 20 episodes to watch whenever I babysat them. And yeah, decent flick, decent show. I mean, it's a little blue monster that destroys shit and then dresses up as Elvis. How is he not the greatest thing in the ever happened to the history of humanity? I mean, come on, come on. Speaking of the greatest thing that ever happened to humanity, wrestling. Yeah, that ain't it. By the by, he's Marcus Green. I completely derailed the intro. he's the glorious one, Marcus Green. Marcus, how are you?
Good. It's gonna be a very dead-ish night. Not on our part though. Just on
No,
some.
no. The title of today's show is "Zombies Ate My Wrestling Passion," a playoff of the old Super Nintendo game "Zombies Ate My Neighbors." Which, if they ever turn that into a movie or like an animated series, that shit'll be hilarious. Just imagine like '50s, camp kind of, aesthetic with like zombies eating like, like the housewives and bullshit, like giant babies destroying houses, aliens.
Yeah. All
Fuck yeah.
Or just do it like you did to me, one of the scariest movies. Freaking Attack of the Killer Space Clowns or whatever his name.
I think Titus was in that.
O'Neill?
No. Christopher Titus.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't remember any dogs barking in that movie.
That-
I'm pretty sure that's not a dog bark, but you know what? I'm too sore to argue with myself. So we're doing things tonight. We're talking about things. A low energy show. Um, I feel like I've been flogged. So, that's fun. But now I get to lick Zach's face in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks when I go to Iowa and just disturb him. Just like walk him and go, ah. And he'll be like, why'd you do that? Because I'm vaccinated. Because I can, motherfucker.
or do the thing where in the Robin Hood Men in Tights where like, oh, wait a minute, he get to make out with his wife?
I think he'd swing at me. Like I'm not a tall man, but I am not a pushover by any means. Like I draw quite a shadow, if you will. I think Zach would still swing at me if I tried that.
Like a pew pew turning to pow pow. Love it.
It's essentially more like pow pow knee to the face. Speaking of to the face, Kenny Omega tried to put people in face. I had that was going nowhere. I'm so. What are we doing?
Like, hey man, even Jordan missed once.
Jordan missed a lot from the 3-point line. Steve Kerr didn't. Ah! Yeah, so Kenny Omega kneeing people in the face. Not to this night. So, first and foremost, we should say that I didn't finish all of Under Siege yet. I'm most of the way through. I know what happened. We can discuss. But the one thing I will say is I've loved this show. Like, I think I'm up to the women's title. No, I'm past the women's title match.
Oh, I'm watching the tag team matches we speak, the women's tag team match.
Oh, that's a good one. Do you know what happens?
Yeah, I know the result.
Okay. Because if you didn't, we could fudge the conversation. You'd be like, oh yeah, and then off we go. But if you already know what happens, yeah, we'll hit it. Overall, it's a good show. I liked it. I like I said, I still have like 2 or 3 matches left to go, but all in all, like, it was a strong outing for them, especially with that. I haven't gotten to the X Division match. I'm right before the X Division match. So, the women's tag match was great. Big fan of that. I don't know why there's not a Wikipedia page. There has to be a Wikipedia page. I remember reading the Wikipedia page. Under Siege Wiki. Oh, it's anniversary. No, that's not right.
Like next up is the Steven Seagal movie.
No, thank you. Even before he went bat crap crazy, I was never a fan of his. I always just found him to be obtuse.
Yeah, I never minded the hands with him, mostly because he always broke everything.
I just remember. I did like one movie. Correction. I did like one movie. It was Executive Decision.
Okay. I'm a big fan of Hard to Kill.
I don't think I've seen Hard to Kill yet. I may have. Like, there were so many movies in the 90s that were basically the same premise of, you took this thing from me, I'll kill everything you love. And then the last scene is like, but you said you'd kill me last. I lied. And then he kills him or whatever. Was that the one where he's like, I'm just a cook? I'm just a cook.
Oh, no, that's actually Under Siege, which is another one of my favorites. I actually got it on VHS. It's hilarious because Tommy Lee Jones is the villain, and he's young, and he's vibrant, and just a youthy, vibrant Tommy Lee Jones. But and Gary Busey is like his second hand when he dressed up and popped out the cake.
Love that Busey.
Yeah, but the one you're talking about, yeah, that's Under Siege. I don't think I've seen the one you're talking about, but Hard to Kill is the one where he got put in a coma for like 8 years or something like that.
And I still taught Bruce Lee how to do a spinning back kick. Sure you did, Steven. Sure you did.
With that 90s motif, I'm like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me Liam Neeson just stole that and is doing it now? Pretty much.
Pretty much. So, Executive Decision is a must-watch. It's Kurt Russell, John Leguizamo, the psychiatrist, psychologist dude from Law and Order SVU. What's his name? Something Platt, Oliver Platt, I think maybe. I think that's his name. Holly Berry.
Oh wow.
Yeah, short-haired Holly Berry. Oliver Platt, I was right.
I'm there.
Yep, yup. And this was when I still didn't realize that John Leguizamo was Puerto Rican because he was Luigi in the Mario Brothers movie. So I'm like, yay, the Italian guy is kicking all the ass because I'm 6. And then he gets shot in the back. I'm like, no. And then I saw a stand-up. You know, I found out he was Puerto Rican. Then I saw I don't remember which stand-up it was, but he was like talking about living with his sisters, and I was like, John Leguizamo is legitimately one of the best actors I've ever seen. He has such a range and an ability to get you hooked into any story he's telling. So I'll watch anything with Leguizamo. He's so good. He's so good. Although, please don't ever make another Mario Brothers movie, please. Not towards Leguizamo. I mean, in general, don't. I don't need that racist caricature of my people. I don't. I'm good. I'm out.
I don't need that racist caricature of dinosaurs.
Yeah, dinosaurs weren't small-headed. They were big-headed, and they ate things, and they had tiny arms. I've seen Meet the Robinsons. I know.
The disrespect of Reptar is real.
Reptar, gotta get the Reptar. Hey, there's some kids on the ice. Somebody call their ma. Reptar was so pissed. Anyway, so yeah, Under Siege. Not the Steven Seagal movie. I was very impressed with what I saw. The tag team title, not the tag team title match, the tag team Four Corners match was unexpected, with Ace Austin and Sawyer actually winning. I don't hate it.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, we talked about it, man. Foden needed to, he wasn't.
Oh,
didn't
yes.
Turn out to,
his name's not Sawyer anymore, is it? It's Madman.
yeah, it's Madman. I mean, it's funny because I feel like now Morris is going to fill the spot that I'm guessing he was being lined up to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like it worked out even better. Because, I mean, if he's not going to guard it on his own, I think he works really good with Austin. They have some tag team moves. Like, I appreciate the fact that these tag teams, even though they clearly got put together, they do feel like actual teams. Rohit and Sheriff feel like a natural fit. Like I said, Ace and Foden have been basically tagging for the longest before they actually started tagging. And everybody else, Double XL, even that Teej guy with Petey Williams, they clicked. So it was some good stuff.
Oh, I was like the Tej guy. Oh, you mean, yeah, never mind. I'm following. I'm following.
Yeah, the spreader's already taken. I don't know if he's a flat earther, and that's also taken by Flip Gordon because I call him Flat Earth Flip, so we needed something for him.
Let's see. He's kosher with people being super offensive. Because he's always making excuses for Manny Pacquiao's anti-gay rhetoric. And, like, listen, you don't need to enjoy watching it. I'm not saying that. But when you're advocating for the death of people, I don't know. I think you're kind of a piece of shit.
Don't Pacquiao, like drink tall bottles of piss or something?
Probably. He drinks tall bottles of piss and hates the gay sex.
See.
And TJP is a big fan of him. So, I don't know. And then he tried to discredit like Tyson's rape victim. Like, listen, like you and I both agree that Tyson's a completely different man, but it happened. Like, you can't say it didn't happen, TJ. You can forgive him. You can move on. You can let bygones be bygones. You can even love the man for who he's become. But his history is still his history.
We can go debate on Jackson. On Michael Jackson, because that store is filled with such. I'm like, okay, all this stuff was clearly a setup. How many reneges can we get?
I don't know. The Jackson one is like all kinds of weird. Then he dangled his baby out the window. Like, who does that?
Yeah, I'm trying to say, was that Blanket? I think it was
Yeah,
Blanket.
that actually was. It was Blanket because they spoofed it in South Park.
Hilarious.
Then his nose fell off in South Park.
Of course it did.
Throughout the episode, he ends up like losing all of his plastic surgery to the point where he looks like Michael Jackson, and then at the end of it, he looks like Jackson from Thriller.
Oh
And
my
he even has like the red jumpsuit on. I mean, it's such in bad taste knowing that he died and all
God.
that, but like it's still fucking funny.
Yeah, man. Speaking of near death, shout out to Max selling death for Morrissey, man. Like,
See, like, I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted. I love Willie Mack. He's losing his hair, by the way. You notice that?
yeah, all spot camera caught it hard. I was like,
Yeah.
oh no.
Mac's gonna need to do something with that hair now. Because there's nothing weirder than watching a dude age and like have his hair fall out. Like if you want to get hair plugs, I'm not against that. You want to do hair restoration, go for it. Like I don't. There's no shame in wanting yourself to feel good, but like don't teeter in the middle. You know,
That's what
either get the replacements, get the therapy, or shave it, or do something with it. Don't just keep
I
doing it.
wonderful because he picks it, and I think he's been picking it for a while,
Maybe
trying
he
to
was picking
get
it too hard when he found out he was facing Morrissey. Like nope, 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 nope.
stressed himself right in that middle portion. I'm like, man, I get some follicle artificial turf or something. Like,
Just avoid whatever LeBron uses, because that clearly washes out. Faux glow. Because it's like so glow, but it's fake.
yeah. So you said you conflicted.
Yeah, I'm conflicted because Morrissey looked good. He did. But on the other side, like Willie Mack, I love him.
Mm-hmm.
I want him to be successful. He might be a dude who's like, I'm just happy to be working with my friends. I don't mind. Like, we can do stuff. I'll put you over. Like, he might be kosher.
Yeah.
But also, like, I want him to do well because he has enormous potential. I still think he needs to, like, if he ever does go full Dusty, I think he needs to update, like, just the T-shirt look.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe because like I think his ring gear works for him, but like he needs to start wearing like shorts in promos or something.
I mean, it's
Maybe borrow Zack Ryder's one-legged attire for his promos just to set him apart.
hilarious. Yeah, I mean, I think my favorite part of the match besides Morrissey, who clearly, uh, could get a baby oil endorsement right now. But I think my favorite part was Swann coming back because we hadn't seen him since what?
Since he lost the belt, I think, or the week
Since
after.
about, and I'm glad he came back like this because one, we found out he clearly wasn't going to get a rematch, but like Mac was always coming to his side when he was getting jumped as
Mm-hmm.
champion. And it kind of felt like because Swan had so much going on, he didn't necessarily return the favors. Even though I think he might have helped. Yeah, he did help him with Moose because obviously that was on the road to Swan. But this was cool, like to continue that storyline of just how much Mac and Swan got each other's backs. So this was cool to see. I mean, and if you this is easily can transition into a Swan Morrissey thing where it's like you got the David and Goliath
Mm-hmm.
scenario. That's I think those are scenarios with Swan thrives at anyway. So
I hope this doesn't go the route of Lesnar and the Hardy Boys. Remember that?
one of the sickest chair shots in the history.
Oh Jesus Christ! I forgot. Wasn't that Jeff to Brock?
That was Jeff to Brock. Jesus Christ.
Well, that explains a lot of Brock's personal opinions. He had the intelligence smashed out of his skull. Then again, it also explains Jeff's. Only on the inverse. Not necessarily that one, but like, all of them cumulatively.
All I could think of anytime somebody says Jeff, now Jeff Hardy, all I could think about is that's Samoa Joe Byrne.
Wait, which one? Because I'm thinking there was one from '07.
Oh, I'm thinking about the one where you told him the shut up, like this is the part of A where you're supposed to let the grown ups talk or something to that effect.
Was this in WWE?
Yeah.
That's why I don't remember it.
So bad Orton had to make a face. Like, oh.
That's when you know things are bad. Fire and Flava defeated Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering to regain the tag title. Like this shocked me. Like I was genuinely like, oh, okay, and like it was a clean win.
Yeah, and I appreciate it because I didn't see it coming because I'm like, we talked about it. Like, if you're gonna buy a new car, don't scratch the paint.
Mm-hmm.
New car being a Jordan and Ellering, but I think this continues that story of them calling Jordan a weak link because she took the pin.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is, I don't know where this is going. Maybe this is going to, Jordan potentially turning heel and her and Ellering clashing. But, it's just interesting because, like I said, I think they could have been a real, dominant pair. But, I think there's just so much, I guess, more momentum on the side of Fire and Flavor as being chased because they're at the point now where they almost don't need the strap because they're that charismatic.
Mm-hmm.
But, I get it. So it'll be interesting seeing where they go. But I'm not mad at it. I mean, you had two good options in this match. So.
I think we've seen peak Kira in the ring. Like, I don't think she's going to get any better than what she is. But her personality is fantastic. Like, she's, to me, the best one-to-one I can draw is she's Ethan Page. If you give her the ability, like not the ability, but if you give her the opportunity to run on the mic, oh, I think she's going to do wonderful things.
Yeah.
So if you can pair her with like the top of the classes, I think she can give you your match with your candidates. But if you put her with someone like Susie or Susan or Sue Young or whatever she's being called this week, you'll get a passable match. Like I enjoy Shamrock and he can do like 4 points of articulation at this point in his life.
And he can do faces, he can do screams, but don't have him run.
He can bend over at the hip, and he can lift his arms above his head. That's about it.
Yeah, and it's funny with Susan because, like, she did less talking as Susie, but I enjoyed her more.
Mm-hmm.
Like this ain't it's just not clicking for me. And poor why the freak am I blanking on her name, the blonde.
Oh, Kimberly.
Yeah, Kimberly. She's kind of getting caught up in the middle of it. So, but yeah, like I said, she's kind of the Harrison Wells of Impact.
Great one-to-one. Great one-to-one. So happy that Fire and Flavor won. The rest of the champions all retained. So that that is what it is. Triple threat match. That 6-man tag. There it is. Saw the good guys go over, and apparently Eddie was in line for a title shot against Kenny Omega because of this match. Like they're like, we're gonna do Kenny versus Eddie at some point. But with recent developments, that seems to be off the table because apparently Eddie Edwards is dealing with appendicitis. So more than likely, he's going to have surgery to get it removed, and he'll be on the shelf for at least 2 months. That could set him up for a return at Slammiversary, but
Yeah, I mean, well, not. I mean, this is not the way you would have wanted it, but you have been calling for a potential knockdown of his size.
a couple LBs. Yeah, this is never the way you wanted to go about things.
Yeah, at all.
Like if I found out Randy Orton had broken his femur, I'll laugh. And I wouldn't be mad that he's off my TV screen, although he already is. So like, cool. But also like there are either easier ways to get him off my TV. I don't need to break his femur, even though he is a giant douchebag. But that's neither here nor there. So yeah, I wish we could have gotten Eddie and Kenny in one-on-one, but we'll see what happens.
That's interesting because I wonder how long that's been going on. Because when initially they did the number one contenders, they did the contenders for the to see who would face Omega. I was like, technically that match that was supposed to determine who would be between Edwards and Callahan came to a no decision because of interference.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like they kind of just put Callahan in a spot and then put Eddie in the tag match. And I was always wondering, like, what was the thought process behind that? But maybe that had something to do with it.
That seems to be the case. Now, granted, this is just a rumor. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know because like I would imagine, just thinking of my own surgeries in my life, the whole one of them, you can be pretty mobile afterwards, like a couple weeks afterwards.
Yeah.
But you can't be aggressive, So like he could do TV, he just couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll still do because like Omega and Edwards at Slammiversary would be like the tits, like that, like title or not, like that'd be the match to see if Eddie's up for it. But if he's not up for it, then I don't know what you do now. That seemed to be where they were going.
I mean, it's interesting because I mean, obviously, we now know that it's gonna be Moose and Omega against all odds. Now, do you turn down Moose and have him hold it to Slammiversary to have him knocked off by a potential Edwards, or do you let Moose get him and then do Moose Edwards?
See, I don't know because there are some questions to answer. One, would Eddie even be ready by Slammiversary?
Yeah.
And that's like a big question because the one thing you don't want him to do is get in bad shape and be sluggish and just drained in the match. And if you don't have the ability to do cardio for 2.5 3 months, that's going to happen. The other thing that you got to ask yourself is this Moose thing with the contract real or not? If it's real, you don't put the belt on him at all. Not unless you have someone you're ready to put over on him. But in that respect, I don't think I want to see Moose with the title because in the off chance he comes back eventually, I would want him to have his first big win run. Some of that made sense, I'm sure. I would want his first run to be a big one. And I wouldn't want him to have like a 1 month, 2 month title reign if he were to come back and win it again. Like that's one of the things I think kept Daniel Bryan from ever like establishing his Chris Benoit moment. Because like they did WrestleMania 30 to redo the Chris Benoit moment, but it didn't have the same authenticity, it didn't have the same type of pomp and circumstance. Sure, it was bigger and people were chanting yes, but it felt manufactured while Benoit's felt genuine. And I think part of the problem is that Bryan had already been world champion I don't know how many times. Because he won it at SummerSlam and he got screwed. He won it at TLC and lost it to Sheamus with a bro kick. So by the time he finally went and won the unified title, or whatever the fuck it was called, it didn't have the same importance because he'd already been a world champion. And I think when you crown a new champion, that first title run needs to be huge. I think that's what happened with Nick Aldis. I think that's why he never got over. I think that would happen with Ron Killings in the old NWA TNA. I think that's why he didn't get over. So there are reasons why you want to hold off on putting belts on guys. And I think if Moose is leaving the company after Slammiversary, I think you don't put the belt on him.
Yes, please, God. I mean, I like Moose and everything he's doing. I think he is peak right now in his career. But let's not get back to that trend. Like, do not O'Reilly this situation because all that time O'Reilly was tagging the Red Dragon and then went through all that with Adam Cole and ROH to finally topple him, get the belt. And then it's like, what he did? Like 2 months later, he like dropped it and went NXT.
Not even. He won it at the end of December at Final Battle, and then he lost it back to Cole at the Dome show. Maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3.
And didn't Cole leave too? So
yeah, Cole left like 5 weeks later.
So it's like just don't like we're hoping we're hoping he resigns Moose because I think Jordan just resigned. So because in my mind, even as great as Moose looks, it's like for guys like Mac, Moose, Swann. Like I don't feel like they get those. They're not gonna get those world title opportunities anywhere else.
Maybe
like
Moose, depending on where he goes.
Yeah.
Depending on where he goes. Like I don't think he's gonna get it in WWE. I mean, Keith Lee. See, like if Triple H takes over eventually, as we all expect him to do, I don't think it'll be the same problem because he's put over black dudes in NXT for God knows how long. I think his second or third champion was Big E.
Mm-hmm.
Triple H has no problem with that. Vince, on the other hand,
Vince is like I know you're J-Lo, but you hiccup hard. I don't like you anymore.
Listen, what's your name? Rey Mysterio Jr. Kid, you're 5'4". What am I gonna do with you? Like he only ever puts like non-WWE guys over when they already have a name, and even then, not always. So yeah, if he goes to Ring of Honor, I think he'll get the belt. If he goes to AEW, he's 116th in line.
Hey man, look, when you talk about this a lot. All else fails with Impact, just fall back on God. I know a lot of people don't like him and whatnot and what have you, but he's been loyal. He's established himself. He is consistent. Just give Callahan.
I'm right there with you. Just give it back to Callahan or give it to Swann. I don't think Swann's leaving anytime soon. Like granted, I still don't think Swann's like a headliner, but if the end game difference is putting it on someone who's leaving or putting it on a guy who may not be the most headline worthy guy, but on the not so headlining guy, like I'd rather be Swann than Moose if Moose is leaving. I'd rather be Moose if he's staying. But
you can potentially do something like you can do if it ends up being a triple threat for the strap and Callahan's the champion, you could run him back into two of his most stringent obstacles in recent years, being Swann and
Eddie.
Miguel, something like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
because you talked about it too. They building up Miguel in a certain kind of way. So,
Mm-hmm. Miguel will be interesting. I think we're a good year of strong booking before we're even considering that. Because right now he still feels like a guy who didn't make it in NXT, which isn't true. He turned down NXT because he didn't want to move. But it still feels that way. And you don't want to have that kind of, you know, lack of a better word, you don't want to have that kind of osprey hanging over your head. Like, you don't want that sort of Damocles hanging over your head. So, best bet would be to go back to the well. You got Eddie, you got James Storm, you got Rich Swann, you got Chris Sabin, all former world champions. Moose, if he stays, is the way to go, I think. Who else was in that six pack? It was Sammy. It was Sammy, Bay, Matt Cardona, Miguel, Sabin, Moose.
mm-hmm.
I like Cardona. God no. I know he's of my people, but no, thank you. We can give him back to the Greeks. You can have him. No tradesy necessary. Give me a hero, and I'll give you Cardona.
So like, who will the Greeks trade for him? And we'll take the Hunchback back. We don't need him.
Wait, which Hunchback? There's a few.
On the 300, like we'll get the Hunchback. We'll trade this one Greek heavy quotation marks. We'll take the Hunchback. I will
We'll
kill many merchants. It doesn't matter. Just come on.
we'll we'll take Leonidas's dead body.
Larry, Mike, win.
We'll take his facial hair. You can even just give us his pubic hair and say it's his facial hair. We won't care. You can just have him. Here's Cardona. We'll even take Joey Fatone back in the trade.
like you know what? We'll sweeten the deal. You can have his girl too. Promote it if you want to. She probably won't give you credit. But anyway.
I just forgot that his girl's Chelsea Green. For a second, I'm like, why are we talking about Carmella? I was like, why? No, no, thank you. Then I remember that was Corey Graves' girl. After he cheated on his wife with her.
Oh, that's straight edge.
It's straight douche. All right, we'll talk more about Under Siege next week when we've actually watched it. WrestleMania Backlash, dumb name. Notable moment: Rey Mysterio and his son won the title. That's cool. I dig that. Anything else happen on the show you want to talk about? Because we got another point to talk about here in a second. We'll get there. It's especially on its own. Like it's hanging around.
One match to recommend this show for exclusively. It's the Reigns Cesaro match just because it really was good. And if you just want to turn your brain off and watch a mindless train wreck of a triple threat, that's the Strowman Galloway, McIntyre, and Lashley match.
So like, I've mellowed, right? Like I've mellowed since you met me, right? Agree with me, goddammit. So like, I feel like I've mellowed. Like I'm not that guy anymore. Like, yeah, you want to have a dumb opinion? Have a dumb opinion. I don't care. Oh boy, howdy! I saw a dumb opinion I need to vent about. Some jackanape. I don't know what jackanape means. I just know it's an insult. Two, I don't know who this clown is talking to, but like, no. They said that the feud between Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman is the modern day equivalent of The Rock and Stone Cold, and it's not even close. And there's no, like, it's either that feud or Stone Cold and Austin. Like, those are the two greatest feuds in WWE history. And I'm just like,
wait, like Reigns and Strowman?
yeah.
And I thought I saw some idiots on the anti-Snyder side of things. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there's some stupid people. Now listen, again, I'm one of those. If that's your favorite feud, if Reigns Strowman is your favorite feud, cool. But there comes a point when subjective statements trump opinionated emotions.
We don't quote Marvel movies often on this show, but shout out to Nick Fury. Like Like, I'll take your opinion, but given that it's a stupid ass opinion.
I'm choosing to ignore it or disobey it, something like that.
Oh my god.
I think Stone Cold and The Rock killed WCW. Reigns and Strowman killed Raw's ratings. Sure, they both put something in the ground. It's not a 1-to-1 comparison, though.
I wish you could find that tweet and quote tweet it with that.
I'll have to look for it because I saw someone else tweet it, or like retweet it or something like that. So I will have to look for it. We'll get to Ricochet here in a second. Rhea Ripley retained. Everyone retained except for Dusseldorf and Booby Boob. They don't care about their career, so why should I care about their names? Fucking job fodder. I will say this. I'm glad that the pay-per-views are no longer 16 hours.
Yeah, man, they kick them off an hour early and try to get them in and get them out. I think they know inherently how bad they are, so they try to get you in and get you out. But yeah, like you said, coolest moment on the show was because I've not been that complimentary of Ray's return in WWE. I think some of the best stuff he's done is because they allowed them to have a great match with him and Andrade, but they ran that to the ground as per you. But
Yeah, the first one was cool. I was done by the 16th.
yeah, exactly. As with most things from Raw or what have you. But yeah, the Alpha Eye thing was some of the worst crap he's had to do in his career.
Mm-hmm.
But look at it, the whole thing with his contract is like, look, if he went through everything he's gone through since he's been back, even though he's been treated, feels like everything except the legend that he actually is, just to get that moment with his son that he did, even if it wasn't in front of a live audience, you got to know it was worth it for him. I mean, to get to say that the kid's been in two of the biggest matches of his dad's career in that kid on a pole match. So the maternity thing with Eddie, which was all kinds of nuts, but you gotta love Eddie and Ray. And now to get to say that he, won a tag team title with his dad, which has never been done. I mean, they both, they never wrestled another day in their lives. They this was it for them. So that was cool.
I still need to know why he's so damn tall. And maybe it was Eddie's kid. Maybe that's the secret.
Wait a minute, how tall is Miss Mysterio? Mrs. Mysterio, I mean.
Probably the same height as Ray.
Yeah,
Maybe a little shorter.
Somebody got to ask Ray, like, who has height on your, which other side of the family did I'm gonna get this from?
I actually know the answer to that. It's usually the paternal side of the mother.
Nice. Okay.
My cousins are all 6'3", 6'2", 6'4". Their father's 5'6". And like you could be like, well, clearly, it's not the father, but they all have the same dumb nose, same dumb smile, same dumb ears. And my aunt, her father's 6'5". So height is a maternal gene, I believe, passed down through the paternal side of things. I think I'd have to double check my genealogy books. I was a big fan of genealogy for a while. Genetics is cool. I find it fascinating. Mostly like why certain regions of the world develop certain facial or like skin features to help survive against the elements. I find that shit fascinating. I don't know why. Evolution, man, it's a crazy thing. And it's a mystery. Evolution is a mystery. It's not actually though. It's not.
It's a mystery.
I don't know the lyrics, but I know the cadence.
Walk the line in the sand.
Mark Jindrak, you got screwed. Speaking of getting screwed, the fans got screwed on Sunday. Because Damian Priest and The Miz, one, The Miz tore his knee in that match, so he's going to be out for 6 to 9 months. So, I don't know. Karmic justice?
Wait a minute, is that when the zombies basically gang zombied him? That's what you could call it after the match. That had to be during the match, but the whole thing was so damn stupid. Like,
yeah, I don't know exactly when his knee went out, because again, didn't watch it because zombies.
Same, yeah.
But someone has to have lost their job for this. Even like the national media is covering it, and they're like, "This is the dumbest shit ever." And even Batista, who's pretty universally beloved right now, even he stepped in it because like at first he tweeted out like a photo shots of like I sent some friends to help Damian Priest, and then like you see the zombie and John Morrison's like, "Oh no," and then like smiley devil glass guy emoji, and then like a fan's like, "Dude, that zombie thing fucking sucked." And he goes, "Why are you telling me? Because you're the one putting it over on Twitter, you dumbass."
Like, I didn't write that shit. I'm on a plane. I'm driving right now. I retweeted that because it was just so funny. He was like, "Why you think I left?"
I mean, we know why you left. Blue Tista. So the question is, I tweeted out RIP WWE 19, I think it's like 82 to 2021. Yeah, it took me a while to realize that Vince only took over the company in like the late 70s, early 80s. I didn't realize that. I thought it was a lot earlier. Shows how much I remember.
I hear nothing about I don't want to hear nothing about the Hardy stuff, the Undead Realm stuff. I even lend credit to Aces and Ace at this point. I refuse to give credibility to what happens to Samoa Joe. We don't acknowledge it. But
What are you talking about, Marcus? He was never abducted by ninjas.
or even the the still being investigated death of a hardcore country cowgirl via the train. She took the train. Freaking Howard.
Nick, where's your wife? She took the train.
Oh, like, well, Nick Brown was gay.
Well, I don't know if he's gay, but he sure likes having fucking ice cream on his ass. So, like, I don't know.
Uh,
I don't think it's a long jump to go from enjoying getting to an ice cream container to other things having cream on you. If I was in a more competent movie, that joke would have been a lot funnier. I blame the COVID shots. They're fucking with me. They're fucking with me. They're fucking with me on several different levels. My back is killing me.
oh man, I hate you going through this. These side effects, and it literally varies person to person.
Here's the thing: like, if this is the worst it is today and tomorrow, like, I'm good. Like, I can still work. I can still work out. I need to not sit up and I need to not lay down, and moving hurts.
It's just weird because like you go this whole last year and then most of this year is like, okay, I know what is helping me to not get, but what the freak did it give me?
Listen, man, if this monkey tail's all I got to deal with, I'm happy. It gives me a sixth appendage. Sorry.
You'll wake up in the morning literally being Ashley, back up, back up.
Well, I hope the tail doesn't have a mind of its own. That'd be horrifying. It'd be like what's that movie? Idle Hands, only with a tail. Listen, well, actually, you know what? I'd be fine with that. I don't want to kill my friends and all, but I do want to have sex with Jessica Alba. So, like, I don't know if Marcus needs to get stabbed so I can do that. Like, I'm sure he'd take this. I'm sure he'd take it. Like, it'll just be like an arm, and you'd be like, fair enough.
I'm just telling you now, if you would come to my house and you're standing there with Alvin, like, you know what has to happen, right? I'm gonna do the Carlton across my floor. No! No! No!
I see you going to the back, and then I look behind me, and you're already in the street somehow doing it, and then like you're in the middle of a convenience store, you're in the Tokyo Dome.
This keeps going. Oh, I'm in the old TNA thing with the tunnel. No! Oh, going through AJ's old pyro. Nah.
Well, that might be a little too far because AJ would be like, excuse me, sir, you don't look like me. Why are you going through my pyro? And you'd be like, wait.
Just get him. Get him. Get your boy.
I mean, there's a reason why AJ wasn't in 3 Live Crew.
Oh my God. Oh, the countryness that will come from.
Like, you don't even need to ask who AJ voted for. You
Oh
know.
my God. No.
You know. Uh, I'll never forget hardcore Republican Brian Gerard, Road Dog James going, I'm voting for the black guy, and AJ kind of looking bewildered by that statement. I sent you that video, right, where they were doing that 2008 election with like Booker and Mick and Road Dog and
Oh,
AJ.
man, spin cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Jim. Man, that was some good times. But yeah, the road dog was like, look, man, there's freaking racism in this country. And I've got a daughter, and I was just like, wow, road dog really is, because I've never seen that side of him.
Mm-hmm.
So like, wow, he really is up on game. It was like, no, man, I'm just racism in this country, and I will not participate in any of that effery. So I'm voting for, And then AJ was just like, oh, okay. Like,
No, AJ's exact reply is, "Don't you have a problem with him having with Obama having being okay with?" No, hang on, fucking COVID shots. He said something to the extent like, "I have a problem with Obama thinking it's okay to have abortions in closets," and I'm like, "What? Did you get dropped on your head 1,000 times between now and yesterday? Like, what? How dumb
now
are you, AJ?"
I understand the length between your world tolerance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, so yeah, zombies bad, dumb, stupid. I don't know if it killed the company for me, but like I was already not watching it, and I'm super not watching it.
I mean, the man keeps topping himself. Somebody literally dies in the ring. Show must go on. They just did the Dark Side of the Ring on Pillman,
Mm-hmm.
and where he
Showing on
literally
that
made,
day too. Pillman died the day of the show.
yeah, they still had to go on. Then he brought his wife on to question, like, what? Come on, man. Like, this dude, man knows no limits, man.
He's a shyster. Then we have AEW. They're in this news because apparently there's infighting among the vice presidents. And I'm sitting here going, gee, 4 people with the same title can't figure out the best way to go forward with a singular idea? It's almost like you can't have multiple leaders at the same time because nothing will get done. I'm fucking shocked. We know that it was a bad idea to name 4 VPs. It's still a bad idea. And then whatever Brandy's faux role is, executive vice something or other, viceroy to the vices and something or something. I don't know. All I know is she works with Sidious.
The Viceroy. She's a
She's a viceroy. Sidious, she's like, Brandy, book the women. Do it. Book them badly. Do it. And Cody probably thinks the Star Wars Episode 3 is actually a good movie. Cody thinks Star Wars Episode 10 was a good movie, or 9. Wait, 8, 7,
no.
8. It's 8.
He probably liked them all in his favorites, all of the sequel trilogy. Like, you can go track these tweets, by the way. I'm pretty sure somebody he hasn't taken them down.
I think his second most favorite was, in fact, Death of the... What was the second stupid Ryan Johnson movie called? Salt Planet Madness?
The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker.
The last one, yeah, that was the last one. And then, like, the second one was, like, Shadow of the Sun's Empire's Bunghole. I don't fucking know. He likes it. It's a terrible movie. It was so bad, I stopped watching the franchise.
The Last Jedi.
Is that what it's called? The Last Jedi?
Yeah, because it was what you said. Yeah, because Force Awakens.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Skywalker.
Like, I haven't watched the second season of Mandalorian because I'm still mad about that movie.
Oh wow. Okay, well, yeah.
It's some residual hate, man. Like, I'm not gonna. And like, it's all right, so like, it's one thing. Like, Joel Schumacher's like, listen, Batman and Robin, whole so bad.
Yeah.
And he's admitted to it. Like, he's like, I did not do a great job with that flick.
Yeah.
But Ryan Johnson's like, no, I was subverting your expectations. And I'm like, motherfucker, I don't want my expectations subverted. I want a cool Luke. I want a cool hand Luke. I want a cool hand Luke Skywalker. Wow, 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 wow. And so we got, no, I'm doing yuckety fun stuff and I drink tit milk. Now listen, We all have enjoyed tit milk in our life. But I don't need to see a 60-year-old man sucking on an animal's teat. I'm good. I'm sure that's someone's fetish. It ain't mine. And yes, I will shame you if it's yours. I'm all about the kink shaming.
Like, look, man, you got me in a space movie rooting against the black guy because he's basically the black Shia LaBeouf in a Transformers movie.
Oh my god, that is a perfect 1-to-1. Oh. The only thing that we were missing was him screaming, "Papa!"
And all Ray had to do was change her name, and he would have did it.
I mean, she does kind of look like Megan Fox. You frame her face with the hair like Megan Fox did. Yeah, you could not like identical twins, but like you could say they're cousins, and someone would be like, "Yeah, I could see that."
Now just imagine, like, what if Bay did the sequel trilogy? You just got a bunch of ass shots, all these strong female space women. I'm like, if he would have tried to attempt that on the lovely Carrie Ann Fisher, she probably would have slapped the piss out of him. But
Yeah. Although,
Yeah.
to be fair, I didn't mind the lovely ass shots in Transformers, so like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I wasn't, enjoying it.
yeah, because if you now going in knowing that Robot Nuts was going to follow that.
Yes, I didn't need to know that. Like, listen, I got no problem with male genitalia. I have a pair. I'm quite fond of it. I don't need to see robot nuts though. Like that's a new level of what? Like I'm good. Like I'm not like but like robot nuts on the villain of all things, and then to be like I'm under them.
I don't need no jive talking Cybertronian version of Black. We don't need.
I don't even think that was more like some jive talking Cybertronian version of the Wiz. Only with no music, which is ironic because they have stereos in them. Like Jesus, like I'm not sure if that was racist or just like super racist. That would have been like having a Hyundai turn into one of those cats from Lady and the Tramp.
Oh, hilarious!
Right? Like I don't think that's suitable. Like we're trying to like I'm of the mindset like I agree that stuff's not good. I am not of the mindset like, oh, that's not good to do it to them, but we can do it to them. No, just don't do it at all. But Michael Bay has not gotten that memo, or the other memo. He still thinks it's 1992. But I am all for gratuitous ass shots and nipple slippage on my TV screens. Like, you know why Game of Thrones started to suck, right? They stopped doing as much nudity. That's what we were all there for. You don't know the name of the characters. I don't know the name of the characters. I don't remember what happened in 5 of the 6 seasons or 8 seasons or how many seasons they had. All I remember is there was about 5 seasons of boobs, and then there wasn't.
When I laugh, it literally went tits up when they stopped being tits up.
No, they went tits down. We wanted them to go tits up. And listen, I know we got some male dong at some point, and that's fine. Because it was usually accompanied by beautiful women. And I'm like, I'm good with that. I get what I want. You get what you want. We're good. But then it's like, oh, we're not going to do as much nudity anymore because some people don't like it. And I'm like, well, they don't matter then.
It's going to be very interesting talking about this premise, considering the fact that they're doing a prequel about a family that basically thrived on incest.
I guarantee they're going to do something to change that. I mean, the whole show was debauchery. That's why people liked it. The first fucking episode, there was like 36 boob shots, siblings fucking. You had a dude who, slept with another woman, allegedly. Turns out he didn't. And it was just like all this, like, and then you had like this little tiny fucking Tyrians all like inside every chick he meets. The whole show is about sex. Like, you know how like a porn will sometimes have like a story? Not that we watch it or anything like that. We don't watch adult content. What are you talking about? But like, you know how they sometimes have like a little arc? Game of Thrones had even less of an arc the first few seasons. It was just one gratuitous shot to another. And it even include the fight scenes. Like, that whole mountain viper fight wasn't great. Like, it was fine. It was well choreographed. I'm not saying it was poorly done. I'm just saying, like, it was Viper hitting him like 4 times with a spear and like, yeah, I'm winning. And then he starts taunting him with his poor ass Inigo Montoya wannabe speech, and then he got his head crushed, and they showed the head crunching, and that's what people were like, oh my god. We were there for the gore and the nudity. Don't let anyone tell you differently, because that fucking story made no goddamn sense. When you have 1,000 characters, I gotta remember, you are not a good writer. Like, man, Animorphs had 6. I could follow all of them. When you got like every character who's ever had a piece of screen time getting their own chapter in your book in a different part of the world of a fictitious land that I need to have a fucking ACT test on or AST. What's the goddamn test? SAT? There it is. We'll go with that one. Where I got to study an entire SAT platform just to fucking know what the hell's going on in your story. It's too complicated. No, thank you. I will never rewatch that show. Scenes, sure. There are some wonderful scenes in that show.
Meanwhile, on a freaking show about a bunch of displaced freaks that live in a mansion, we got an arc for a rat.
Yeah. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. An arc. Wait. Didn't we also get an arc the season before with a cockroach and a rat? Because I'm trying to remember how season 2 ended. Didn't it end with the rat and the cockroach fucking?
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember because we know the rat had a full arc. But I'm trying to say, was the roach last minute?
Maybe it was like the last 2 seasons, the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
But still, you had a cockroach fucking a rat, and then you had the rat's child seeking revenge. And he almost did it. Fucking man, like that show is intense like a fucking circus. And then you had the most adorable little monkey girl. Oh, Dorothy. She just wants to be loved, damn it. How hard is that? Yes, so she's a simian. Get over it. Some people dunk french fries in Frosties. The world is just weird, damn it. We don't need to be judging simian girls. Like, come on. She's a little adorable sweetheart. But that's kind of the whole point, because Timothy Dalton's character is supposed to be an asshole. And he is. So, like, you know, that one.
But he's so endearing as an actor. Like, that was one of the best replacements that they could have done. Because that dude just came off creepy. I knock him as an actor, but he didn't have the aura that was needed. Because you're supposed to be hating this guy, but he's such a likable dude. It's like, well, you effed over all these people for a hunch?
An accurate hunch, though.
Yeah.
It's hard to say he was wrong. But yeah, having 4 vice presidents is probably a bad idea.
Yeah.
We got back there eventually.
And is Khan? No, Khan's the owner. So.
Yeah, Khan's the EVP. No, he's just the executive of the company. He's top dog, team president, team owner. So he gets final say, obviously. But the problem is when you have so many people trying to direct the properties and the infighting, it causes tension and it bleeds into the product. And let's be honest, if it wasn't for the name value, I don't know if a lot of people would be as into AEW as they were. Like, I don't think their booking in their first 2 years, comparatively, I'm putting that caveat in there, I don't think it's comparatively better than Impact's first 2 years as TNA. Granted, you have to understand the context of the generations they were in, but you had Chris Jericho fall into a fucking stone fire pad, and then you played it off like he just went through like this fucking giant-ass stage. Like, I can see it. It's right there. Did you not do any tests beforehand? Did you not know that this would be a problem? Mike Awesome was thrown off the top of a goddamn cage in 2000, and it looked as real as possible. Maybe it was. No, it was that Canyon. Canyon got thrown off the cage in 2000. And it looked as real as possible. Don't tell me you couldn't have done it.
Just the imagery of all the mass that is Rikishi falling off a cage. Jesus.
Yeah, and he just fell into hay. And like that was like fine. I don't know what hay had to do with the end of the world, but like hey, Armageddon 2000. What are you gonna do? But like so much of like there's so many wasted opportunities, so many wasted talents, so many lackluster angles. The women's division doesn't exist. You can't tell me differently. The tag team division is just the Young Bucks and whatever old team they're facing that week. It's very oddly booked. Again, if you enjoy it, that's fine. That's your prerogative. You get to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't think like with all the talent they have, and with all the potential they have, and with all the partnerships and ability to get any guy they want, I don't think they've been doing a good job. Do you
No,
watch
man. I mean,
AEW? Do you still enjoy it? If you do,
I do it in pieces. I like seeing Sting, and
yes.
I'm really following everything that's going on with Christian because I'm he's one of my favorite wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
But I could care less for most of their roster. Like, look, man, God bless everything that's they trying to do, and stuff with the Dark Order, because obviously they legitimately gave this kid a contract, and I'm pretty sure all those guys are rallying around him and
Mm-hmm.
just trying to pick pieces after losing Brody Lee. But I don't care about that group, and they trying to recruit Hangman Page, who I give even less f about. So that's that. They could be doing more with Lance Archer. Maybe they are having him gearing up to go at now. Freaking what's his name? Rusev for the North American Championship, who we just took out Darby Allin. Um,
Miro, and I think it's the TV title.
Miro.
I
Yeah, the
think
TNT. Um,
TNT. We were both wrong.
yeah, he's the TNT strap. But I don't care about Miro. Like, okay, he gets the so I, there's that. I just got more into Darby Allin. A lot of that had to do with his alliance with Sting. And I appreciate some of the stuff that he does, but there's that. But like you said, the women's division is dead. I, was kind of into that. I mean, it's always great seeing, um, we love everything that's going on with, from Lucha Underground,
Mm-hmm.
but, and NWA. But other than that, Britt Baker, okay, whatever. Swoles, I imagine, still on the men. So, and Kawarushida and the rest of the Japanese talent, as good as they are technically, are basically forgettable as characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the chick with Vicky is just there now.
Is that Nyla?
Um, yeah, Nyla Rose.
Nyla Rose.
So that's in disarray, and I don't really care. The stuff with you know Jericho and his boys have been interesting, but that's mostly because that's mainly what the stuff is around. I don't care anything about Cody. He's doing whatever, and I've grown to appreciate Kenny Omega, but more so because of stuff I'm getting to see him doing Impact.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really care about a lot of stuff on the program, and a lot of I think their momentum has to do with people have been mentally and emotionally dog walked by WWE for so long, and AEW is the new hotness, and they're getting all these names that they just assume was gonna come over there and be better, which is not, because if they were, freaking Sean Spears would be, well, freaking Miro is right now.
That's part of the problem. Like this has been a company that has been booked by friends for friends. I don't have any legitimate issues with most of these guys, so I don't want it to be personal, but excuse me. But the fact of the matter is, Sean Spears is not a guy that you would put on TV. He's as charismatic as a rice cake. Breaks just as quickly too. So like the only reason he has a job there is because he's buddies with Cody, legitimately. And like Cody's even said, like I believe in what's the goddamn word? He believes in
Nepotism.
nepotism. Thank you. Look at you. Look at you inside my head. Look at you. If you can find where I placed that U.S. Agent action figure when I was 5, I haven't found it yet. It's been 30 years. A little help would be great. I love that action figure, and I don't know where it went. Because he was Captain America, but he was wearing a black suit. I was like, that's so cool, because I was 5. I was easily impressed. But anyway, when you think about it, this has not been a well-run company with regards to the angles. Like, I don't really sit here and go, oh man, think about that one great angle with like Styles and Daniels in 2005. Like, that was so good. Or think about Shawn Undertaker. Even if you didn't like the matches as much as everyone else did, hell of an idea, hell of a setup. I don't really have that. Like, oh yeah, it's such a great storyline with Cody and Ty Dillinger. Like, oh, Dustin breaking up with QT Marshall. Greatest tag team that never was. Like, these are dumb angles. Like, you had Cody and Dustin, But that was before AEW had a TV show.
Mhm.
Like, that was a great angle. That's the only great angle I can think of. So, I don't know. It is what it is. Like, it's cool to see Sting back, but, like, also, I don't need to see any more cinematic matches. And, like, Brian Cage is a henchman.
Yeah, man.
I never thought he was that great in the ring, but, like, he's marketable as shit. He's fucking huge. It's not huge. He's huge with a Y, because he's just exactly why. Why are you so big?
And then now you got him standing next to what they call him Bad Man Hobbs, and
That's such a
I
bad
like him
nickname.
more than Cage. Yeah, I like him more than Cage. But again, they're getting caught in Tad is feuding with he's feuding with Christian. It's almost to the point where like, okay, the heat's between Taz and Christian, but Taz can't wrestle. So now he has to pin it off on like his goons, and he's already beaten um the big man and I think freaking the pretty boy. So
Yeah,
it's
those are names.
yeah, in the pretty boy. So like yeah, look, it's a lot of people on the show and there's a lot going on. It just none of it matters.
Mm-hmm.
It really don't matter. They got a lot of names. They're another, like WWE, they're holding a lot of talent, but a lot of these people are grouped for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So God bless them. And then they got the AEW. I mean, what they got Big Show on that second tier dark show or whatever that they had on, and then it's look, man, they're keeping a lot of people employed,
And
which
that's
is
good.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we both agree. Like, there's no problem with that. The problem
no,
is they need to have a second brand. They can't just keep flooding, because like the YouTube shows, they get what, a couple 100,000 at best, maybe, not even.
yeah,
So like you can't rely on that as a second source of entertainment in terms of storyline building. So like I don't know.
yeah. It's just, I mean, obviously we bias, we Impact guys, but Impact has been logistically consistent. I know a lot of people, and obviously, I think we talked about some weeks back about Book calling them stupid for dropping Omega with the strap, but there's intent and long-term thought being put into a lot of these decisions and a lot of consistency within storylines that we just haven't had in years prior that we've been starved of being fans of that show. So, but again, like I said, it's the end thing to always punch down at Impact,
Mm-hmm.
and then like everybody's tuning in at Impact when it's an AEW talent there or some crap like that. But Impact has had the consistency that I feel like AEW has. AEW just has the mainstream and they got people's ear because it feels like their competition. Well, I don't even really feel like the competition WWE. WWE is just they in their lane. They don't do nothing right, but they're logistically in their own lane. So
So I'm looking at the dark shows. They average around 300,000, give or take, on a given week. I mean, that's not bad. I know Impact does similar numbers to that. But when you have so many talents and you have a third of your audience watching the other shows, that's not good. That's not good. You can't run a company like that. And like, think about some of these names they got. They have LAX or Santana and Ortiz, the headliners in Impact. I can't think of one thing they've done other than been Jericho's lackey. Like Pentagon, think about how good he was booked in Lucha Underground. Because I've admitted before, and I'll say it again, I do in fact love being a turtle, but also I didn't think that they used Pentagon to his best abilities in Impact. I've always said that. I thought his title run was aggressively and insultingly short. I thought that his tag team run with his brother was cool. A lot of great matches,
mm,
but not a lot of great character work. Like in Lucha Underground, he was the reason to watch. And then in Impact, he was kind of like, "Oh, I'm the best tag team guy." And that's great and all, but you are so much more than that. And then in AEW, is he hurt? Is he in Mexico because of COVID? Like, he either hasn't been on TV in a year and a half, or he hasn't done anything worth talking about in a year and a half. Either way, that's bad.
yeah, and I know you're not necessarily the biggest fan, but they got me. Look, you got names like Pentagon Phoenix, which could very much be like I feel like booking them correctly in Impact. You got Pentagon killing his world champion, Phoenix killing his X division.
Mm-hmm.
But they got Phoenix, Pentagon, and Pac in a group.
Oh, that's right, the Death Triangle. The most useless group I've ever heard of. Great talents. Fantastic
Yeah.
talents. 3 of the best to do it. But one, who really cares about them being a trio? 2, why do you have a trio? You don't have trio titles. Either do a tag team or a stable. 3, the fuck is this trio even doing? Like, I don't know who they're feuding with. I just looked up their matches, and like Penta faced off with a Robo, whoever the fuck that is. Orange Cassidy defeated Penta. Penta defeated Trent. That's another one. Trent fucking Beretta. Like, it's cool to have Chuck Taylor. I love Chuck, but Trent Beretta's kind of just there. And I guess Chuck is still hurt. Death Triangle defeated the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Takeshita and Nakazawa. What was it, a 5-on-3 match? Oh, no, it was Mike and Matt Sydal as well. Never mind. He faced off with Brandon Cutler. That's a draw. Talk about nepotism. The Good Brothers defeated the Lucha Brothers. The Lucha Brothers defeated the Young Bucks. Cody Rhodes defeated Penta. Penta lost to Scorpio Sky in the #1 contender championship face of the Revolution ladder match for the AEW TNA title opportunity. Fucking dumbass name. Penta defeated Ezreal, and Lucha Brothers defeated Chase Prophet. That's his 2021. He's one of the greatest wrestlers of the last 15 years, and that's his 2021. Brilliant. Brilliant. Speaking of brilliant, we got to talk about Ricochet. Ricochet angered the interwebs.
Oh God.
Yes. So someone on WWE's Twitter account said they posed a question: who is the best high flyer in the WWE right now? They had AJ, Ray, Ricochet, and Io Shirai. If we're being objective, it's Ricochet. He's the most athletic of the 4. Maybe 20 years ago, Ray is more athletic than Ricochet today. Maybe AJ 15, 20 years ago was more athletic than Ricochet today. But Ray's 45, AJ's 46, Ricochet's, 32? So, yeah, Ricochet's default. And he even said, like, there are different styles and all that, but, he basically said that, he's the best high flyer. And someone replied with, yeah, but Io Shirai is really good at what she does. And he's like, yeah, that's true. She is. But I can do what she does. She can't do what I can do. And he basically said that I'm the best high flyer, and even suggested that Io Shirai is on my level. I'm paraphrasing. He suggested that, that if Io Shirai was on his level, that's pretty laughable. And it's true. Io Shirai is not on any of those dudes' level. You can be a fan of hers. You can think she's a really great high flyer. But we're talking like throwing a fastball against Randy Johnson or doing a slam dunk contest against LeBron James. You might be good for who you are. That does not make you good. Like, man, me on a Fisher-Price dunk hoop, there ain't no one better. Ain't no one better. I'm willing to throw down with you, Marcus, to prove that point. You and me, Fisher-Price dunk hoop. Let's do this. But I ain't gonna step in an all-star fucking slam dunk contest against LeBron James. He's got a foot on me. and currently, I'm not in my fighting shape. And I'm dealing with this fucking COVID shot thingy. And I can't stand up straight or walk without feeling the ache. So, like, no. He wins by default, and I'm willing to have that. But it's not an insult to suggest that men are better athletes 1-to-1 to women. It's not. It's the truth. You can have the best female WNBA player and put them against the best male NBA player, and it's not going to be a pretty sight. There's a reason why there are men's and women's MMA divisions. As great as Kayla Harrison is, and she's fucking great, she'll murder you. You put her against Patricio Pitbull or Charles Oliveira, she's going to have a bad day. It's not going to be pretty. And there's a reason why there's that separation between the genders, because there is a difference in athletic ability between genders. There just is. You can argue until you're blue in the face. But if you watch an NBA game and you watch a WNBA game, there are significant differences in athleticism. That doesn't take away from the women's athletic prowesses or their accomplishments on the court. They have a lot of very talented women in the WNBA. But there's a reason why they're in the WNBA and the men are in the NBA, and there's not a super league. of the best men and women, because there might be maybe 20 WNBA players who could play in the NBA as bench players at best. Maybe one or two could be starters, maybe, and that's only if they're really good at shooting. But they play with a smaller ball and a smaller court. So again, I digress. This isn't to insult anyone, though. I'm not a tall man. I can't do anything about that. If you say, hey, man, you're not that tall, I'm not going to be offended. I know. I'm 5'6". I get it. I've been living at this height for a long time. I'm aware of my limitations. And I feel like we as a culture need to realize that just because you're upset that it's true doesn't mean that what was said was offensive. I don't think anything Ricochet said was offensive. I think the fact that he said it pissed people off because it's kind of braggadocious. But I don't think anything he said was offensive. If you look at the tweets, it was pretty mild. Like, yeah, he can do everything Io Shirai can do. Io Shirai can't do everything Ricochet can do. These aren't insults. These are facts. We understand that. The problem is Ricochet, as I said on Twitter, is he's 10 pounds of douche in a 5-pound bag. And he is. Ricochet's a jackass. He's an ass and people don't like him. But it doesn't make what he said any untrue. And like that's the thing we need to realize. Just because you don't like somebody doesn't make their opinions invalid just because you don't like them. And just because you like somebody doesn't make their opinions valid just because you like them. Facts don't care about your opinions. And this is coming from a guy who doesn't really care about opinions. I respect 9 people's opinions, and you're one of them. So,
as appreciated as always. But yeah, I mean, I think I think you got that crowd, man, that probably just don't want to hear nothing from him. Then you got the women, the one who also can always back the women. And Io Shirai is a great example of somebody who you would put in a flag category, but like you said, there's different tiers. And then I think the also energy is like, your opinion is cool, but you have really no room to talk when you're on TV stealing the hat and jacket off Sheamus.
That was actually brought up. So his exact tweet was, I'm not saying Io Shirai is not amazing. She 100% is. But I can do everything she can do, probably even better. She can't do what I'm capable of, maybe not even half. Eventually, someone by the name of Iz, who had a Golden State Warriors avatar, just to kind of give you an idea of who he is, goes, a shell of his former indie self, and be a jobber with a middling career with no upper mobility and afraid to leave the security of the WWE, question mark. Ricochet responds, man, I bet you felt good when you were typing this. Ha 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 ha. That's just, man, just... So it's one of those things where, yeah, Ricochet isn't wrong, but he's not right. He needs to sit down and have a discussion on when to say and when not to say some things. Io Shirai's a hell of talent. I don't think anyone should deny that. I think WWE should stop putting their talents in these situations where people are like, that's not right. That's not true. But here we are. They can't stop pissing people off.
I wonder though, because it's obviously certain things happen that the company will nudge you and be like, "Hey man, that's not a good look, Chief. That's not it, Chief." But I think it's one of these situations where we've seen the sensitivity of goofs like Strowman. I'm still waiting on that gif of that mob from The Simpsons with the fire and pitch torches, the pitches and fire torches to make it to Meltzer's house. It's a lot of sensitive guys in that company. I think everything that guy, like you said, Izzy or something, or Iz or whatever said, 100% even truer than what Ricochet said.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he knows it, and I think that's why. And that's just going off what you said, because I didn't see the tweet, but that's what he said. It felt like an over defense.
Yeah.
You need to say that against Ryan. Like you obviously, somebody hits him, like you need to defend it because that's really what you got. Like nobody can hang with me. Yeah, but we won't see it because you won't be on the show.
So here's how the whole thing started, just to give you context. So W tweets out a tweet with the 4 people I mentioned saying, tag your high-flying choice. Ricochet retweets it saying, there's literally no one who can do what I can do and how I do it, but I'll let you all discuss. That right there, I think, ends the conversation, right? That should end the conversation. No one's disagreeing. But Ricochet gets replied to by a young woman, and this is where things go sideways. Marissa Lee goes, because there's more than one high-flying... COVID shot just killing me. Because there's more than one style of high-flying. Number one, there's not. There's high-flying. That's why it's called high-flying. There's more than one style of wrestling, yes, but no, it's just high-flying. If you do a cross-body block off the top of a rope and you think that's the apex of high-flying, you're in 1989 and your name is Ricky Steamboat. Just saying. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, like, we've evolved. And Ricochet replied to the young woman who said that there's more than one style of high-flying with, and none are as good as mine. She replies with touche. In that aspect, I can agree, but Io Shirai, or Shirai Io, as her Twitter account says, is also a phenomenal high flyer as well. She's the best at what she does. Which isn't true, because what she does is high flying, and that's Ricochet. We know who the best high flyer is. It's either Ricochet or Will Ospreay, as much as no one wants to admit it anymore because they're no longer indie darlings. They're still the best at what they do. We know this. And that's when Ricochet said I'm not saying she's not amazing, she 100% is, but I can do everything she can do, probably even better. So, there you go. That's kind of where we're at. I don't know, man. Like, I agree with the idea that Io Shirai is not on his level or, a lot of men's levels because athleticism is a thing. But I also don't agree that Ricochet needs to go further than his first tweet. Like, yeah, we know you're the apex. We get it. You're good. At that point, you're just bragging or being self-fulfilling. I'm not sure which at this point.
It's look, man. Something still don't need to be said. If The Rock replies to a tweet about a 4-picture thing about charisma, he's literally joking.
Yes.
Because what's understood don't need to be said. That's like, come on, man. Also, we know that if The Rock is replying on Twitter, he probably interrupting himself from another job to do it. But Ricochet, it's like, just tell us what the freak they're serving and catering. It's like what the freak? Like we know what it is, man. We know how good you are, but like let's not play too much, man. Like it's like I said, it's against Io Shirai. When somebody says, I don't even know why they try to even go down this rabbit hole with fans because they're inherently biased anyway, and that's fine. But you need to know that going in. Like, of course, you're your biggest fan, but you don't need to take your nuts out and drag them across the keyboard.
That's a visual I didn't need to think about. And you're right. You're 100% right. It's the idea that if you need to defend yourself in a conversation on opinions, then you probably don't have the right opinion. If I know what I know and I believe in what I believe, I don't need to justify it. I don't need to sit here and say, yeah, Lakers probably aren't winning the NBA title. What do you think that? Because I don't. Well, prove it. I don't need to. I don't need to prove anything to you. It's my opinion. I think it's right. The only reason I'm going to debate with you is if I'm bored. God, I get so bored sometimes. And two, if I have some self-doubt. Now, that used to be what I used to do. I don't do it anymore. If you notice, the last 4 or 5 years, I don't tweet at people anymore. 5, 6 years, actually. It's been a while. I'll make random tweets every once in a while, but most of the stuff, it's like, hey, yeah, check this out. Or, hey, yeah, here's what we're doing. Or, hey, I have a monkey cam.
But you sub-tweet sucker shit. That's basically what all that sub-tweeting sucker stuff. You put them in, like, I people do that because oftentimes those are the captain of the tweet and delete community.
Tweet and delete community?
This also sucks. But it's like, yeah, it's like, because I watch some of these, sometimes I watch soaps with my mom just because of quality time. But it's like when you get that unnatural dialogue in TV shows or movies where people be like, hey, Chad, you're my best friend, aren't you? Aren't you my best friend? It's like nobody talks like this. And who are you trying to convince, me or you? It's like, hey, I'm the best high flyer there is. Ain't I though? It's like that, ain't I though? Like, what?
I think we'd all be a little better off if we just listened to young Ashley Simpson. Not Ashley Simpson. God damn it. Don't ever listen to Ashley Simpson. Ashley Banks.
And that,
when we say, mind your business. It's one thing to be helpful. It's another thing to be a douche. I like Io Shirai. She's really talented. She is. Like, there's no debate about that. I just don't think you always need to compare people, because you're only going to ever start fucking arguments, especially when it's so lopsided. It's like saying Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman is a more successful feud than The Rock and Austin. You can say that until you're blue in the face. I got financials and TV records and attendance figures to tell you that you are not right. So just mind your business. Not every opinion needs to be shared. Speaking of that, Canada Dry Zero Sugar Ginger Ale, not bad.
It's fun. I've always wanted to try. They really are like decent because I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of people drink. I'm like, wow, that must not be half bad.
I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, but as a kid, ginger ale was only ever used if I was sick. And it
Yeah.
always tasted like butt. So I never drank it. But like I was in the store the other day. And I'm trying to avoid heavily like acidic drinks because
Yeah.
like I've been drinking those bubblies and Bay waters or Bay waters, whatever they're fucking called. And they're good. I like them.
Yeah.
But they do something nasty to my stomach with my acid reflux. I'm looking for other things. Clear pop, or sorry, for people below West Virginia, clear soda. Fucking weirdos. Clear pop always sits well with me, like in terms of like a gastrointestinal thing. So I got
Yeah.
Canada Dry Zero Sugar because I'm trying to cut out sugars, and like yeah, it's pretty good. I also got an A&W sugar-free root beer. That was great, but it did something nasty to me. So I'm not gonna be
Love
drinking
those.
those as often. But dude, IBC root beers used to be like if I was like a 7, 8 year old like celebrating something, I'd be like, Dad, go get the $6 root beer.
Yeah, man, I remember one time I just got it because I was gonna drink it. I think it had got hot or something. I was like, hey, I got some um homemade vanilla in the fridge. I mean, in the freezer. Made myself a float. Hell
Hey,
no.
there you
Yeah.
go. Have you ever had IBC root beer? Do you guys get that down in Louisiana?
No, we usually if they do got them down here, I haven't had one. I usually got in the A and
Okay.
W like you said.
Yeah, IBC is really, really good. It comes in like a 6 pack of bottles. So like as a kid, I was like, I'm drinking a beer. Which is ironic because I don't drink.
It's hilarious. I've always wanted to get those type of root beers because I've always wanted to feel like an adult. Like, yeah. Let me about this top, but I'm healthy.
It's been a hard day, and you pop it against the sink or the what have you,
Yeah.
and the person watching you's like, oh
Yeah.
man, you're pulling out a beer. Yeah, and then you pull out just like a random bowl of ice cream from nowhere, and you pour the root beer in, and they're like, oh, it's not beer, it's root beer, and you're just like, yeah, I had a really
Yeah.
hard day.
Yeah. Give me the bucket. Give me one of those rusty looking buckets with ice in it and those 4 root beers. You don't want to get to the bar and get caught in a Deuce Bigelow situation.
Oh, jeez, those movies existed. I forgot about that. All right, Marcus. Final thought. New Jack passed away.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. I did lose the death pool on him. I expected it to be murder. Revenge killing because New Jack really pissed a lot of people off.
It's funny. I'm so glad you said that because when I first read it, I was like, I'm surprised that a lot of people were affected and tweeting RP because all I could think about was like going back to his Dark Side of the Ring, the life and crimes of New Jack, I think they called it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this dude kind of over a lot of people. Like I know if that kid that he damn near killed is still alive, I know he not exactly devastated, or at least the family not. Um, but yeah, that's one of them names. But you look at something like because they got an upcoming one on Warrior, the same thing with him.
If they don't address
You
his
know,
bigoted and homophobia, like man,
I
like
think they'll do it on Daw's Holler because
I would hope.
he got an A&E and he got a Dark Side of the Ring, but A&E is working closely with WWE because that's where they get a lot of photos and the videos from. So they basically instead of giving the lowdown everything was Savage, they basically damn near turn it into like a Savage Liz documentary.
Mm.
Whereas they'll do it on the Dark Side of the Ring, they're gonna hit all them points because Savage was another one who was for as beloved that he was. He had some dark stuff too, obviously. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Savage was a short-tempered man who enjoyed, recreational activities that weren't actually activities, and yeah, he had his own issues. But honestly, I don't mean this as a joke. When I heard New Jack died, I thought someone like Rob Black killed him. Because that man, New Jack, lived a life. He lived a life. This is the best way I can describe it. We should really do an entire show on Rob Black because that dude allegedly hired some people to kill one of his biggest stars. Allegedly. There's a dude in 2002 named the Messiah who was like the next coming of Tommy Dreamer, only far more violent. And he apparently allegedly slept with Rob Black's wife, Lizzie Borden, who was a porn star. And then like 3 months later, dudes broke into his house and he lost a fucking finger. Because like the dudes cut it off.
Oh.
Yeah, it's it's a thing, man. It's a thing. Yeah, that needs to be talked about eventually one day. Oh, he lost his thumb. That's what it was, not his finger. His thumb. Technically, not a finger. Okay, so with that being said, we are done. We are off the air. We're going home. C'est la vie. We'll be back next Tuesday. Let's see. Yeah, we'll be back next Tuesday, obviously. Another wrestling show. Marcus, are you still percolating on TV show ideas you want to think about for a review show?
Yeah.
I think something soapy would be nice. Something with lustful affairs and buxom blondes and stupid writing. Something terrible.
It's hilarious because one of my options was Angel. We said, but I don't know, man. He's kind of buxom on a good workout day. He's definitely blonde.
Dirty blonde.
But yeah, Dirty Blonde. I did have your Desperate Housewives on there because I've never seen it, but I mean, I'm a big fan of Terry Hatcher from the Superman show.
Who isn't?
Exactly. This was I think you said 90s to like early 2000s. I had the Beastmaster series on there. If we're going newer, I have Future Man, but that's like really new. But yeah, now that you said Bucks and Blondes, now I get really creative.
Yeah, anything soap opera-y with over-the-top relationships, like that's what I'm looking for. Like in One Tree Hill, 17-year-olds got married. Like that dumb. like I married your sister, but your sister was pretending to be you. Then you killed your sister, but I didn't notice because you're twins. And now you're married to me, even though we didn't technically get married, but I did technically get married to you, but I didn't know I got married to you. Like that dumb. If you can find me something that dumb, I'll watch however many episodes it is. Well, no, because I'm not watching 5, 6, 7, 8,000 episodes. So like, no One Life to Live, or so it's 20 episodes a season, 7 to 9 seasons, or 5 to 7, or 5 to 9, whatever.
Yeah, not Riverdale levels of what the freak is this, but not the length of like, dude, you know how many Baywatch episodes there are?
Not the idea I'm going for. If Baywatch is the pick, there's some options there. It does meet all the criteria of dumb relationships and buxom blondes and stupid storytelling. So like, it's an option. 90210, I guess, also works. I guess anything in the early 2000s on WB, I guess, works.
Pacific Blue might be on there too.
Add it. I don't know how the relationships are on that show, but I'm sure it's dumb. Like I want dumb relationships. Like I didn't know I was having sex with your sister because it was from behind and in the dark, and it's like a completely different person, like completely different body type. Like you couldn't tell, really. Come on, like that. Like I want that. We'll see if we can find something like that. Okay, that's all we got for tonight. RealNerdCorp.com, RealNerdCorp.com. We're on Twitter at NERDCRP. We're on Instagram at RealNerdCorp. Marcus can be found on Twitter at ParadoxKid, ParadoxKid.
That's me.
You can also find him on his other podcast, The True Penny Show, on Twitter at True Penny Show, TruePennyShow. Is it True Penny Show on Twitter or The True Penny Show on Twitter?
True Penny Show.
Okay. You can also find me on Twitter at ChadNerdCorp, ChadNerdCorp, and on Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. We'll let you know when we decide to bring back the review with me and Marcus. We are going to do something dumb, Something fun, and something that should make us both giggle like little kids. That's the end game. If I can make Marcus like almost cry from laughing so hard, I know I had a good night. That's how I judge these shows. Make Marcus
Yeah,
laugh.
same.
That's my
Same.
mantra. MML from the producers of Blacked. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for giving us a chance. And as always, watch more wrestling. Marcus, take us home.
Good night, me.